Ayan, kita naman.
Kita po.
Okay, GAMPRG1. So, what to expect to for GAMPRG1? Uh, Basically, topics natin is just a bit of game engine, mostly about Unreal Engine. So, kung nag-iOS Pro kayo or Android Pro, puro Unity yun, no? Now, in GAMPROG, which is after Silabas Prog, you will be learning Unreal Engine. So you'll be learning how to use its editor, how to use its visual programming language, see Blueprint. You have gameplay framework, event dispatchers. You also have collision handling and navigation. You will be learning this throughout your stay in Camp Aragon. What you need Unreal Engine. So you need Unreal Engine 5.2.x. So make sure not download any other Unreal Engine, not 5.3, not 5.4. We are gonna use 5.2.x. So if you don't know how to download this, since online to, you can go. You will need see Epic Games Launcher. You need Epic Games Launcher. So let me open it up. Load. Uh, Sige po, habang nagbubukas yan. You also need fork. Fork is for your repository. Uh, if you use source 3, halos pares lang yun. Or GitHub, pares lang yun. So fork, I mean any. You can use source 3, you can use fork, up to you. GitHub, not sure kasi we're not gonna use GitHub na repository. We'll be using GitLab. But if it works for the GitHub program, sure. So anyway, ayun. Here we go. Epic Games. So it's Epic Games. If you download the Epic Games launcher and you create an account, you should have Store, Library, and Unreal Engine. So if you go to Unreal Engine, you'll be met with this news. If you go to the library, ayan, this is what you see. Engine versions, and kung di pa kayo start, you have my projects tapos empty lang siya. So dito, this is where you download yung mga uh, versions of Unreal Engine. So it should look like this, 5.4.4 kung di pa na-download yung 5.2 and others. So in here, if you click there, you have access to all the other versions. And what we need is 5.2, which I have right here. So you click 5.2, tapos install. Okay. Ganun kadali. Alright, so dito lang siya sa library. Alright, questions here? Or clarifications? Alright, next. What is your final grade criteria? Now, your final grade is made out of these three components. Project 1, Quiz 1, which is the only quiz that we have. It's not even Google Forms. It's in Big Sky. And Project 2. So it's Project 1. It's an endless runner. So imagine you're just going forward, 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 forward. And you just have to dodge yung mga obstacles. That is Project 1. The Project 2 naman is the upgraded version of Endless Runner. So besides you going forward, you would have zombies, you would have guns, you would have uh, power-ups to pick up, different kinds of guns to shoot. So very upgraded version of Endless Runner. And finally, yung quiz nyo is made up of a bit of the history of game engines, and mostly about Unreal Engine and its functions. Okay, questions here or clarifications?
None po.
No. Okay,
I don't think I have any, sir.
okay. So, ito kung hindi nyo ginawa si Project 1, you could still pass. But you have to make sure your Project 2 is enough and your quiz is enough to pass. Okay? So 70%, 10%. If nakalatin lang yung project 2, malamang fail kayo, right? So you have to reach close to um finishing project 2, like almost, I mean not perfect, pero satisfactory, and then you have to do also well sa quiz 1. Kung di nyo ginawa si project 1 and si quiz, you need to perfect project 2 to pass. Okay? Because it's 70%. 70% passing natin. So does this mean that you should skip project 1? No. Do not skip project 1. Okay. It may seem little, 20, 10%. Pero you're not sure what you're gonna expect with project 2. So do your best in managing in passing project 1. Okay. Hindi siya mahirap. You could technically do project 1 in 1 week, given you focus in doing it. Alright? Technically, kaya 1 week. 2 weeks pa nga eh. 2 weeks longest. Actually, masyado nakakabing 2 weeks. Pero kayang-kaya nyo gawin in 1 week. Alright? Midterm grade. What is it beat out of? It's just project 1. So, yung midterm nyo, kahit na 0 kayo, doesn't mean that you're gonna fail, right? Kasi it's just made out of project 1. Snapshot lang siya sa progress nyo. So, okay lang kung mag-0 kayo or 2 si midterm. It doesn't mean na yung final grade nyo would be 1 or just 1.5. No. Because, again, project 1 is just 20%. Alright? So, snapshot lang to. Now, Project Rubik's, this is for Project 2 only. So, Project 1, all you have to do is do it. Tapusin nyo yung requirements, do what is asked for. I don't care how ugly looking your code is or how it's not aesthetic at all. Okay lang. As long as you do yung requirements niya. Project 2, however, medyo nagiging medyo seryoso na to. I will be checking yung code quality nyo if you call this spaghetti code. Kung may spaghetti code kayo or madumi yung code nyo, ayun. Or let's say may ginamit kayo na na, na hindi siya maganda. Like, parang we call this get all actors. Mga ganun. Which basically is you're getting all the, like imagine you're gonna search through all the objects in the game just to get this certain actor, right? So, very unoptimized yun. So, that will affect yung grade nyo sa code quality. Aesthetics, because your project to, you can choose whatever assets you want. Ayun. This will be your aesthetics. So you can choose whatever assets there is online or available in the marketplace, and you can use it for your game. So that's your aesthetics. Finally, requirements. Again, what is what is asked of you guys in the milestones. Yun. I think requirements. Right? Questions here? Or any clarifications about this? Wala. Okay, let's continue. So Project Rubik's, for code quality, parang ganito lang to. I believe it's also in the uh, syllabus. But it gives you a broad idea on how I grade kapag code quality. So as long as you're following good coding principles, you should be fine. If you use something na very unique that is for me na parang hindi ko naturo, usually I give code quality to you guys. Okay? So how will you submit? Ang submissions all through Big Sky by just submitting yung commit link. Right? You'll be using GitLab for your repository. Yung instructions is there in Big Sky on how to set up your repository. So no other forms of submission will be accepted. So sir, pwede ba ano? Pwede ba GitHub? No. Sir, pwede ba may ba? GitHub. Ano ba isa? I forgot what we used to use before this. Source tree. Basta anyway, GitLab. Okay. GitLab. So, paano yung milestones? Don't mind this na. Don't mind yung sa yellow to. Kapag milestones, submit your milestones to Big Sky. So, you see right now, you have drop boxes for each milestone. Doon nyo ilalagay yung mga commit links nyo. So, you could hold consultations kung gusto nyo para may feedback agad ako, or you could just wait for my text feedback. So, milestones are self-paced. Unlike yung ibang classes nyo, here, okay lang kung na-miss nyo yung deadline ng milestone 1, milestone 2, okay lang. As long as you submit everything by the last milestone's due date. Okay. So, kung hanggang milestone 5, yung milestones, yung lahat ng milestones, it is due until milestone 5. Okay? So, okay lang. Okay lang kung malit kayo. However, all items in the previously checked milestones must be stable and functional. So, current milestones will not be evaluated until the build is stable. What does this mean? If nagsubmit kayo ng milestones 1 to 5 in one day, pero milestone 1 pa lang may problema, that means I cannot give a grade for all your other milestones. Alright? So, I cannot lahat ng 2 to 5, kahit na perfect yung 2 to 5 nyo, kung may problema kayo sa milestone 1, wala. I cannot grade it. So, that's the drawback of yung itong ano. Okay? So, students are required to defend their code if I think there's something suspicious sa code nyo. Let's say, nangopya kayo. Then, you would have to defend your code. And kung di nyo ma-defend, I strike na kayo sa akin. Okay? Questions here? Clarification about the milestones, submission of milestones?
No questions, sir.
Klaro naman, ha?
I mean, like, I don't have any major ones, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So, if may questions kayo dito, you can always ask it or message me or message here. Anything. Okay. So, yung sa baba nito, don't mind yung sa baba nito. I will still check your milestones anytime. Or kung gusto nyo, kasi minsan it does get quite busy sa work. You could message me if you want your milestones checked right away para I will try to give my time for it. Okay? Kung kailangan nyo talaga ng check. Pero I'll do my best naman to check every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Saturday, maybe. Sunday, most probably. Okay? So I'll try to give feedback right away. All right, questions? No, 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 no. Okay. Final build. This is for milestone 2. So milestone 1, you don't have to build your you don't have to build your project. So milestone 2, this is where you have to build your project. The thing is, if you're gonna submit, make sure that you did reach 50% of the submission. Why? Because if you do not do 50%, technically you're not gonna pass. If you see here, all the way up here, if you do 50%, 35%, that's not even enough to pass. 35, 65%. Not enough. Kahit may perfect yung dalawa. So, kung di nyo ginawa, wag na. Okay? So, you must submit your build in Big Sky using Google Drive or doon mismo kaya. You must be this one, not really. You don't have to be present. I'll be checking it naman online. So, no repository and commit, no defense. Okay? So, please, oh yeah, yun lang. Okay, questions here? Okay, sige. Siguro last one. For milestones, kung magsasubmit kayo ng milestones, you just have to work with one project. You don't have to create multiple projects for each milestone. Okay, you can just work with you can just work with one project, one folder. I will just check it there. So, sasubmit nyo lang naman yung yung commit link in Big Sky. Okay? So, you don't have to create multiple folders for each milestone. Just work with one folder. Okay. So yeah, this is introduction for GAMPRG1. If my questions kayo or clarifications about anything, feel free to message me or message here sa GAMPRG1 na channel. Okay. So yun. Now, since that's done, let us go have a quick brief through lang sa history. This one you don't really have to memorize. Something good to know. There are some parts though that will pop up, pero it's not really that hard naman when it comes to the quiz. Okay. So, big history. History of game engines. Early 90s, developers are mostly building their games from the ground up. So when they used to code it, in might have been just using bit lang or using decimal code lang, right? They have to build from the ground up to make it work. Wala pa kasi nun OP. Wala pa nun C# or C++. They were working with really hard types of code. Okay. So imagine that. So it becomes close to impossible to develop relatively big games. So most games were only backed up by a handful of developers. So itong lahat ng developers, so those are all programmers. Walang artist. Kasi when you create art, you'll have to know how to code. Okay? So Sweeney came along and developed ZZTOP. So this changed the game of developing games. So itong ZZTOP, it allowed significant user modification beyond simple map editors. This led to the conceptual framework of current game engines. So with this, they could create kasi different stuff beyond just map editors lang. Could create, I think, yung character pa nga eh. Mga ganun. So it's really defined game engines as a game engine with a high productivity, what you see is what you get tools pipeline, bundled with a programming language aimed at simplifying gameplay logic. So example, with all their work, they did create Unreal Tournament. So see, Unreal Engine, it just used to be for an engine just for Unreal Tournament, if you try to research. Pero eventually, they were able to create it so that it could be used for to create different types of games. Pero just imagine, it just used to be for Unreal Tournament lang. So see Unreal Engine, so Epic began to work on their own shooter, Unreal Tournament, in 1988 to compete against FPS games like Wolfenstein, Doom, and Duke Nukem, and Quake. So, I siguro naman you've seen these games noon. This Doom is not the same Doom as we have right now. Doom noon, just, I believe you can only look left and right lang. Tapos automatic pa yung kapag may verticality, medyo ino-automate na yung uh, trajectory ng bullet to go to that uh, uh, higher or lower places, right? Same thing with Duke Nukem, Wolfenstein 3D. They all used to just look left and right. So Epic built the Unreal Engine to build the Unreal Tournament game. So yung Unreal Engine 1 gave way to artists and designers to join the development workflow. So it provided tools that are dramatically improve the team's productivity. So naisip nila na instead of just programmers, why don't we have the artists and designers in the development workflow? Kasi before, you would have to code everything. And because of that, yung mga programmers, they have to know what the artist wants or what the designer wants. So instead, naisip nila is to have them join by by having them work on the game through this game engine or this tool, see Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine was ahead of its time. They were already providing good graphics even just before the revolutionary shift to dedicated graphics cards. So see Unreal Engine 2 opened its doors to console development. Cross-platform development was close to impossible back then. So noon kasi, when you have to code for different consoles, it's not, most of the time, they're not using the same language. If you, actually hanggang ngayon, Apple uses a different language than Microsoft. So you can't actually, if for, well, Unity and Epic Games has already done that to be able to create games for both Android and Apple. Pero noon kasi, you need to work on a different code, a different language, just to create a game for Apple. So imagine that, pero mga consoles, we have Atari, you have the other old consoles, Famicom, ganun. They were not using the same languages. Pero si Unreal Engine 2, it gave way in creating cross-platform development. So today, Unreal Engine is the most common and powerful engine to develop popular or AAA titles. Okay? So, why use an engine? So we use an engine to improve the workflow between different departments. So this is a requirement. Bakit? If si programmer lang ang gumagawa, si programmer lang yung sinasabihan ko anong gagawin, you have a call it a bottleneck. Kasi lahat yun kailangan gawin ng mga programmers. Bottleneck yun because si programmers, they can't focus on optimizing, they can't focus on mechanics. They have to do other things such as yung where to place, yung level designing, right? So yung gagawa nun because yung designers or yung artists, they don't know how to use the tool, right? So we use the game engine para ma-improve yun, yung workflow. Next, yung mga game engines, they have modules like physics, rendering, scripting, sounds, etc., and are already bundled in the engine. So you can start building your game immediately. So automatic na yun. Andun na yung mga kailangan mo. You could even use other people's work. And you can create your game right away. So it has lots of boilerplate code that's already handled by the engine. For example, scene rendering. So programmers focus more on the actual gameplay. Unlike before, where you have to create your own system for physics, mga ganun. Before kasi, the programmers would have to code that. Ngayon, with the game engine, andun na yung andun na yung mga paano mag-render, paano yung physics. So, that way, us programmers, we focus now on the gameplay and optimization. Next, it's cross-platform. So most games today are cross-platform. Without this, you have to recode everything for every additional platform. So like I said, kapag iba yung code and wala kayong pang cross-platform, you have to transfer or redo your code in that in that language. Kaya minsan noon yung may mga bugs sa Apple na hindi nakita sa Android because those were two different languages. Those were two different things that either the ones sa Apple they had to recode it to Android or dun sa Android they had to recode it for Apple. And may nakamali somewhere. Kaya may mga ganun. May mga ganun na instances. Next, it might be slower than coding from the ground up, but it's impractical to sacrifice productivity for performance. So big games take years to develop even with engine. Ayun. So we don't have to create the game from the ground up. From the physics, from the mechanics, then natin we can implement, we can just use yung sa engine and we can focus na sa gameplay. Basically. Okay? Questions here? Or any clarifications?
Wala naman po.
Okay. Unreal versus Unity. So, sino dito yung nakapag-Unity? Or sige, baka lahat yun. Sino dito hindi pa nakapag-Unity? Okay. So, lahat naman kayo nag-Unity. So, in that case, I guess you know yung mga yung how to use it and all. So, sounds good and all, but what about Unity? So, as game development evolved, it became more difficult for independent developers who didn't have resources to license game development technology. So in 2002, Unity started a small group of developers who want to build their own game. So as they were developing the game, they built the tools to streamline the workflow. They realized why not be a company that develops these tools and shifted their focus on game engine development instead. So by 2005, they released the engine along with commercial games like Rubble, and Unity paved the way for low-budget developers to join the market. Okay. So, si Epic kasi, in order for you, if you're going to use their engine, it wasn't free, if I recall. Unreal Engine was not free to use. No, you would have to pay. Not only that, you would have to pay royalties. So each time you sell a game, you would have to pay Epic a bit of it. Okay. So this was not for mga indie developers. Not only was it bad for them, kasi let's say nang gumawa sila ng game, it didn't work. That means they lost money and quite a lot. Alright. So si Unity, naisip sila na gumawa sila ng sariling game engine that is that anyone can use for free. Well, I mean, you know the news recently, but anyway. So, ayun. So Unity paved the way for low-budget developers to join the market. So with the rise of mobile game development, Unity rose to fame. And today, it is the best engine to use for smaller games, specifically mobile games. And finally, by 2015 or Unity 5.0, Unity started to up their game when it comes to graphics. Now, this used to what it looks like noon, it is only for Apple pa ngayon noon. Pero eventually, they able to port it in Microsoft and for everyone else to use. So pros and cons. Si Unreal Engine, it's proven na. So pro nito, it's proven since 1999. Everyone knows Unreal Engine is great to use. And it's very or the games that are created under Unreal Engine are beautiful. So they're widely used by AAA title games. Excellent art, designer tools, they have better graphics, right? They also use visual scripting, fast prototyping. So in here, unlike si uh, unlike si Unity, when it comes to prototyping, it's as easy as just adding some nodes into your blueprint and gagana na. Unlike sa Unity, you would have to code it pa. Kailangan mo pa i-code yun. Okay? So, better optimization, open source. So, actually, yung kasi Unreal Engine, they even have their own trash collecting. They know how to trash collect. You don't have to learn how to properly trash collect. Sila na bahala nun. They have so many other things that are optimized. Kasi nga, they've been here for quite a while. Cons nga lang, it's C++. It has lots of boilerplate code. When we mean boilerplate code, parang repeating code. And when you arrive to GAMPRG1, you will see why why we say here it has lots of boilerplate code. Makikita niyo. Next, engine tool seems to favor specific genres. So you'll notice that one, it's not used for 2D games. Like that's one. Two, it seems better for certain types of games for sure. Not a visual VN visual novel. Yeah, 100%. Not for it. Don't use Unreal Engine for visual novels, please. You have other things rin na hindi siya gumagana. 2.5 pwede pa. It's just that sometimes it doesn't look nice unless you know how to execute it well. You have Octo Travel. Parang ganun. I don't know. Octo Traveler ata is not epic. I mean Unreal. I think. I can't recall. Pero mga ganun. Basta medyo pabor siya sa mga specific genres. Next, learning curve is steep at start. You will have to learn kasi certain functions that you can use or certain ways to how to code in Blueprint. And it says here, medyo steep yung learning curve. Pero the moment you learn, that curve eventually it doesn't go steep anymore. So parang padali na. So sa start lang, medyo mahirap. Next, less plugins and community support. You'll notice that if you try to search in the future on support or whatnot, sobrang scarce. They're very sobrang onti lang yung mga makita mong mga articles. In fact, yung API pa nga ni Unreal Engine or yung mga like how to search the like what this function does or whatever, it's not that well documented. Wala nga pictures for you to see. Okay. So medyo pangat yung support niya. Finally, too heavy for mobile games. So, yes, nagano yung mga Unreal Engine mobile games on our phone, but on phones that are not kulang yung I mean that are inexpensive, that are just use for daily use. Minsan hindi kaya ng phone yun. And sobrang uminit yung phone na yun. So it's not for every mobile games. Unity, however, it's a best cross-platform integration. So not only for yung mga console, but you even have mobile games. Sorry, you have for mobile, both for Android and even Apple. So kaya nga best cross-platform integration and best engine for mobile games. Next, you can make almost any game in Unity. Since you start off with just nothing, you can literally code from the ground up. So you can create any game. Hindi siya, it doesn't favor a specific type of genre. So it is more flexible since it's built, yeah, but from coding is more productive since it is in C sharp. Um, you this one you feel in GAMPRG 2. Pero kasi if you've coded in Unity, you know how easy it is to simply call one class from another. It's simple to use. Basically, it's just simple to code in Unity. Pero kung nag C++ kayo doon sa Unreal Engine, it's quite hellish. Is what I would say. Okay. Next, engine structure is a lot easier to learn. Since puro components lang naman. Next, large community support. Now, if you search help or search the API documentation of Unity, you see so much, and there's even pictures. There's it shows you how to use it. Yung kagandahan ni Unity. And finally, lots of plugins. Lots of people just are able to just post in the asset store for you to use pang plugin. Cons nga lang, it is relatively young compared to Unreal. So, when it comes to optimization, ayun nga, medyo kulang sila to the point na you yourself have to create the code to optimize some stuff. So, like, if you destroy in Unity, hindi siya as I mean, if you're not destroying a lot, sure, okay lang. Pero kung naglaro kayo, if you try to create a game na, let's say, bullet hell, and you try to destroy and spawn multiple things at the same time, you would notice sobrang pabagal yung game nyo. It's because they don't have Unity doesn't have a trash collecting optimization. Okay. But we're slightly behind in terms of graphics, also slower in rendering. So, you see nga si Unreal Engine 5, yung mga videos na sobrang realistic. In fact, yeah. You will notice na hanggang ngayon si Unreal Engine still has his steps ahead pa of Unity. Next, closed source. So, you can't actually see yung code ni Unity on how they code their stuff. You could search it online. Probably there's a repository about it. I remember that. Pero kasi si Unreal Engine, you actually have access to their code. You have access to how they implemented some stuff. Yeah, very open source siya. So prefabs are not as flexible compared to Unreal. Not a choice for AAA games. It just says so. No native visual scripting. So in here, I mean, there is a visual scripting as far as I know, pero that's think it's for materials. I think they're creating. I don't remember reading it somewhere. They are trying to create a visual scripting. I'm not sure kung natapos na rin. So you'll be coding most of the time. Finally, workflow in the team is worse than Unreal. Okay. This one I could talk further, pero I think by next week malalaman ito. malalaman niyo to. Itong workflow. Okay? Questions so far? Or clarification? Alright. Wala na to. So, which is better if you're making a low medium budget mobile game? Ano mang gamitin na si Unity? Alright. Kasi mahirap. I mean, like I said, Unreal, you need a good phone to play Unreal games. Mobile games are made in Unreal. Or else, iinit yung phone mo. So if you're making AAA games for PC, you could use Unreal Engine. Okay. You could use it. It will definitely work. Definitely be useful for your development. For bigger teams with designers and artists, Unreal is more compatible. Like I said, mas madali nga mag-prototype sa Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine for your designer to work on. Okay. So, again, workflow. Next, Unreal Engine may spoon feed you because of its visual scripting. So I would not recommend this for newbie programmers. So what does this mean? Kung sobrang baguhan kayo sa in programming, we wouldn't really recommend to see Unreal Engine because you wouldn't know how to properly code when it comes to OOP or when it comes to coding principles. Okay. We won't really recommend this. Mas okay pa na mag-start pa muna kayo somewhere like C++ to the basics before you work on the visual scripting. And finally, in the end, there's no best engine, only best app. So it's really up to you kung ano yung team nyo. It's really up to you kung ano yung kailangan yung gawin. Alright. So it's really just which one, what type of game you're creating, and what you are working with. So that is the end. Yep. Wala pa kayo. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So any questions here? All clear? So this one, there's nothing really
Clear
much
po.
to memorize here. Okay, you don't have to memorize everything here. Yeah, you just have to know lang about some stuff. Right. So yeah, that's it lang for this game engine. We just want to go through this para next week we can start working on how to use Unreal Engine. Right. So kung wala kayong questions, everything's clear. Again, make sure to download Unreal Engine. Okay? Make sure to download Unreal Engine para next week we can start working on it. Again, just get Epic Games Launcher and then go to Unreal Engine library. Ayan, download nyo si Unreal Engine 5.2. Okay, 5.2. Then when it comes to Git, kayo bahala. I prefer fork. There's also source tree. There's also GitHub. Pero kayo na bahala. Right? And finally, dun sa repository nyo, make sure you follow the naming convention. Alright, there's a naming convention here. So it's 241, meaning year 24, first term, you have GAMPRG1, last name, FN. Kung ano yung acronyms nyo. Acronym. Yeah. So like ako, Cesar Paulo, CP. So Donato _ CP. And add me as a developer, pado.csv. Set the visibility level to private. And then I have a git ignore here. Make sure when you download it, tapos ipapasok nyo to sa project nyo. This has already yung mga pagtanggal na niya pa. So I would say I would rather use this. Use this rather than yung automatic na ginagawa ni GitLab because is this will most this will work better than yung sa GitLab because it makes sure na ito mawawala to sa mga folders niyo. Doon kasi sa GitLab, you have to put that git ignore inside pa yung project. Ito kasi kahit sa labas ng project, it should work. Okay? So make sure you use yung provide ko na git ignore. So yeah, that's it. Read up na lang yung mga ano. Yung due date, final na yan. Uh, do I have anything else? I think that's all lang naman. So kung sige, last one. May questions na ba kayo? Ay, may questions ba kayo? Kung wala,
Klaro po, sir.
okay. So kung klaro,
I
then
don't have any questions right now.
okay.
Well,
So
actually, I do.
all right.
This what you've shown us. Are we able to watch it again just in case we missed something? Or
Yeah, it is I am currently videoing this. So yes, you
oh,
should be able
all right.
to
Thank you. Excuse me.
watch this later. Okay? I will post it in the content under recordings here in the future. Pero dito, I will post it here lang sa recordings. Okay? So kung wala kayong questions, that's it for today. You guys can enjoy your night and see y'all next week.
Thank you, sir.
All right, okay.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, sir. Are you still recording?